Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Scrolls, the new card game from Mojang. Electronic card game anyway. As always, I'm PA, and today I'm going to be giving you just the basic overview of Scrolls, and then admittedly I'm probably going to be making more videos on it in the future. So, first thing you should know about Scrolls is that it is a card game. It is going to be based a lot around collection of new cards, creation of decks, just fiddling around with it for hours, trading for stuff you need. If that doesn't sound like your kind of bag, don't really worry about it. It's an open beta right now, so you do have to pay to get in, but it's really not that bad. If you get in and you do some of the trials and all that jazz, after you kind of finish those up, you should have a decent selection of cards to start a deck anyway. And it does cost money to get in, but you will get one deck for free, and then the rest of the cards you can buy are pretty much exclusively by in-game gold, which you get from... Oh, I actually have enough to buy a card here. Let's, that's common. Wonderful. Alright, so you can actually buy scrolls individually over here, so you don't really have to spend money on the game, but what I did was I spent enough money to get the pre-constructed decks, and I'm gonna have a little bit left over just in case some rares pop up or something that I want like that. You can also spend money on avatars, but that's completely cosmetic, and I'm thinking if I ever just get way too much gold for my own good, I might get that, but chances are I'll just spend it all on cards anyway. So, honestly, okay, right off the bat though, I think it's just for today and tomorrow, this weekend, but, which is why I'm going to, or maybe it's the whole week, but just quick note. If you start playing Scrolls today or tomorrow, you will actually get the Decay pre-constructed for free in addition to whichever one of the original 3 decks you choose, because Decay just came out today, so I actually don't know as much about it. But just, if you do join in the near future, you will be able to get Decay right away. Granted, you'll still be paying for beta access, so take that for what you will. But what we're going to do is, just to get a general overview, we're actually going to make a deck here, really quickly, and I'm going to give you a basic overview of the cards. So, as you can see, there are quite a few cards. I have a couple 100 cards at my disposal, only 50 of the Decay cards since I just have the base deck, but I'm going to be giving you just a basic overview of what each card does. Each one costs a different type of resource, and I'll explain a bit of the resources and the attack and defense now, but I'll explain more when we actually get into a quick match, which will be at the end of this video. So, blue is order. Order is, if you ever played Magic the Gathering, these actually sync up pretty neatly into the Magic the Gathering categories that existed. Blue is a lot about control of the battlefield. It's a lot about buffing your own units, and it's a lot about just making sure that you draw and stay in control of what's going on, maintaining where units' positions are, making sure that you're drawing and dealing a little bit of damage, or just defending. In fact, it has one of the best defense cards in the game, Waking Stones, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Energy is the red if you ever played Magic. If you haven't played Magic, just it's all the damage that's going on. And I typically love playing energy, which is why I have more energy cards than anything else. But I did start with the order pre-constructed, which is why I seem to have a lot of those as well. Still, energy is actually a lot of fun. I'm greatly enjoying it, and just overall, it's really a pretty nice set. It's all about destroying things. It's all about making sure that you're on the offense pretty much all the time. Then what else do we have here? We have growth, which is focused on getting creatures and making sure that they get nice and buffed. So, for example, perfect example, Champion's Ring. 2 enchantment for 2, gets +2 attack to the unit. Crimson Bull, all units you control gain +1 attack. Let's see, Kinvoke Veteran. Now wherever he went. He's somewhere around here. Whatever. Oh, there it is. Kinvoke Veteran. Haste, one of the only 2 cards in the game that comes into play and attacks immediately. Rallying reduces... Oh, where'd it go? There it is. Rallying, reduce all countdown on your units by 2, so everything attacks at once. It's just a lot about relentless offense, that sort of thing. And then Decay, which just came out today. So I don't know as much about it, but it seems to be based a lot around debuffing. Now, these cards apparently give Curse, but I'm not entirely certain what Curse is, which is a bit weird. It's completely new to me. I've never even heard of it before. But, God, these things just look gruesome. It's terrible. But I suppose that would be what's going on. So, the Purple is definitely the black, the swamp kind of creatures of the Magic the Gathering mindset, whereas this were entirely forest green. Alright, so now that all that's out of the way, we're going to go ahead and make a deck. So right off the bat, I'm going to sort by card cost, just to kind of make things a little bit easier on myself. And we're going to want to get a decent balance of creatures, spells, structures, and enchantments here, with the goal of getting to 50 cards. As previously mentioned, you don't have to have 50, or did I mention that? You don't have to have 50 cards, but it makes things a little bit easier if you do, and they recycle, so it's all fairly good. So, right off the bat, we're going to toss in, let's see here, I'm going to be focusing on a very heavy control of the field sort of deck, making sure that opponents can't get their cards out. So, let's start. Oh my god, this music! Oh, evidently the new... oh my god. The new, the new faction wasn't the only thing that came with the update. So we're going to put in a couple of sparks, which are pretty decent. If you ever played Magic the Gathering, this is one of the, you know, the originals. Spark. Deal 2 points of damage, cost 2 to play. Alright, we're also going to get some... where is it? I know I have it around here somewhere. There it is. Burn. Costs 4, but deals 3 damage to target unit, which is pretty nice. Let's see, what else do we need here? We're going to need some Thunder Surges. Deals lots of damage to lots of things. And then, Thunder Surge is actually a bit of an interesting one. It's a lot more crowd control than other things, but the current meta kind of focuses on getting lots of creatures out. So we're going to go ahead and focus on that. Do I want Violent Dispersal, though? It's never really a bad idea to have it in, but we already have 3 6-cost cards. Let's see how it goes first, before I do anything else. So let's start on creatures. Copper Automatons are fantastic in an energy deck. They only cost 1 to play, and they deal 4 damage and then explode the turn after they're played, which is pretty nice. And for early game removal, Dust Runner's fantastic. Whenever it deals damage to a creature that has 3 health or less, that creature is immediately destroyed, even though Dust Runner itself only has 1 attack. So, pretty cool. It's good for taking care of the little things. Potion of Resistance is a fairly rare card, and I was actually really lucky. I traded for 2 of them, and then the next couple of days I managed to pull 2 from individual packs, so now I've got a spare one that I'll probably sell off later, or I'll save to combine with other things, or something like that. I'm actually considering putting in Useless Contraption, which is a pretty handy little wall, since I'm going to be playing a lot of ranged creatures. But I'm not going to do that yet. We'll see first. Put in Gun Automatons, which are fantastic. By the way, quick note, if you look at this card, you'll notice that it actually has some notes about how many matches it's been played in, how many wins it has, how many times I played it, how many times I sacrificed it, as well as idle kills, unit kills, damage, destroyed. It's a lot of data, but that just comes from crafting, which is basically a way to get rid of your spare cards if you don't feel like selling them. Which honestly is a bit of a weird thing to do, since you almost always want to sell your cards, because it's fairly valuable to do so, but if it's a common, like worth 50 gold, like Spark or Gun Automaton, I even try to trade for some of them, just so I can get shinier cards. But to get a full set of 3 tier 3 cards, you actually need 81 of the original, so that's a lot of them. You have to sacrifice 3 cards to get a new one. I'm putting in some Iron Whips, and there's some fairly basic removal. They deal 1 damage, which means that if they get some early game units that don't have much health, I can cast Iron Whip on it. There's actually 1 unit in particular in the growth set that I'm keeping this in for almost exclusively, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. So we have a Bombard here. I have 5 Bombards, go figure. But it's a great unit to have in my ranged deck, since it decreases the cooldown of all units with ranged and lava attacks, and that's going to be most of mine. Ember Bonds is kind of a weird card, but I like keeping it in, since it does guarantee 2 damage to something for admittedly 3 costs, but it repeats if they're going to have a lot of health, or if they're attacking a lot. Which can actually hurt quite a few units. One or 2 in particular that I'm thinking of, but you can't stop your units from attacking, which means the Ember Bonds well, most of the time, which means the Ember Bonds is going to deal damage. Let's see, what else do we want in here? Scattergunners are fantastic, I love these guys. Pretty low health. 2 health, but they deal 4 damage every 2 turns, and that's... I should probably go over this really quickly. No, I'll go over it once I get in the game. It'll be a bit easier then, you'll be able to see firsthand. Clock libraries are a fantastic energy card. They allow you to draw, which is something you don't really get a lot of in energy decks. Metal Wonders are pretty much standard play for the meta right now. I absolutely cannot stand the current growth order, which is green and blue draw deck that people are loving, but you know what, people are playing it, so I'll counter it as I can. Cannon Automaton's a great late game unit for me, so I'm going to throw a couple of those in. I'm already up to 42 out of 50 scrolls, so I'm just looking to kind of fill the last couple of spots here. Charge coils, I think, are absolutely fantastic. If you can manage to get 2 out, that's 2 damage every single turn to a random unit, and that really starts to stack up. It forces your opponent to spend effort to kill them. And I think I am going to toss in these useless contraptions, since they're pretty effective walls. They have 4 health for 1 cost, which can stop something from dying. Now, you may notice that I don't really have a lot of powerful creatures out here, and the creatures that I do have aren't very high on health. So I'm actually going to toss in... I'm going to end up with a 51 scroll deck, but I'm going to toss in 3 Iron Ogres. I can always sacrifice them if worse comes to worse, but a 7/7... on a 3-turn cooldown is actually a pretty sizable threat. And plus, with Iron Whips, I can boost its attack and lower its cooldown by doing that. It's going to be the only unit, that and Copper Automaton, that isn't affected by Bombard. But as you can see, I have 18 creatures, 12 structures, because Metal Wonder and Clock Library and all them kind of structures, 6 enchantments, and 15 spells. So that's a pretty decent balance. A lot of decks would have more creatures than this, but energy is a lot about making sure that your opponent can't keep anything on the field, not about making sure that your units can stay on the field. Plus, a lot of my idle damage against the current meta is going to come out of Metal Wonder, which is a pretty fantastic card. Whenever your opponent plays something that isn't a creature or a structure, it deals 2 damage to a random idol they have. And random doesn't sound that good, but you start to get 2 or 3 of these out, or even 1. And your opponent is a little bit more scared to cast. Like 1, they think, maybe I can soak the 2 damage. But once you start to get 2 out and they're taking 4 damage to an idol every single time they cast something, that can really discourage a lot of players from casting their basic, I continue to draw endlessly strategy. So 51 scrolls, I think I'm going to save this deck. What are we going to name it? We'll name it, tutorials are helpful. Sure, why not? Save that. And I actually sort of like this deck. I think it's pretty handy, and let's see if we can win a match with it, shall we? So this is the arena. From the arena you have single player or multiplayer options. Single player, you have the tutorial, just in case you need to learn what to do. You have a quick match if you want to play against the bot, and you have the trials. Trials are actually a pretty good way to earn early gold. I completed all these easy and medium until today when they added a few more. Let's see here. Like, you see that there is just... the easy ones actually give you a bit of benefit. The medium is a little bit iffy, right? And then you have Marathon. All idols begin the battle with 99 health, right? It's just absolutely ridiculous. But there's a different set of categories to each trial. Like in this one, your opponent begins with 3 junkyards and 3 bunnies, so it's a very defensive strategy. In this one, they get a shrine and 3 Sinmark zealots, so it's kind of, I don't know, dangerous because your opponent has a lot of sort of low health units. Your opponent begins the battle with 5, a Night Scholar and Honorable General, but they get half health on their idols. And you start with resources. Just, it's a good way to earn early gold, and it's a good way to kind of get used to the mechanics of the game, but it's not going to be the average condition, because your opponent usually starts with something that you don't. So, I don't want to do ranked matches yet. I've been playing for a couple of weeks now, but I'm not quite confident enough for ranked matches, plus we just got this brand new deck here. And we're just going to try to get a quick match. In the meantime, just basic... oh, no time. The game begins. As soon as my opponent actually accepts, which would be fantastic. Please accept. Or maybe he won't. Anyway, good a time as any. You can actually join some extra rooms. Decks and strategy are usually pretty dead, but trading is usually just about the most active forum on there. And there is actually a very active trading community within Scrolls right now. It has its own custom values for the Scrolls. It has all the custom there's a little bit of an economy built up. People want to buy certain cards. In this case, just look at this guy. He's just selling an absolute load, but he's not giving any prices, which is a bit weird. But there is just about a set accepted price for a lot of things. So let's see if this guy is deciding to play Decay. That'd be pretty cool if we could see a Decay deck on the very first day. And I've started with no creatures, which is a bit unfortunate for me. But what I can do is I'm going to sacrifice Bombard first, since Clock Library and Metal Wonder are both kind of good. And here's your introduction to the basics of the game. You have 5 cards that you start with, and you can either sacrifice your cards for your resource, or whatever resource you have in your deck, or you can sacrifice a card to draw 2 more cards. At the beginning of the game, you'll almost always want to sacrifice for resources, since that's pretty necessary to cast cards, but later in the game you'll start just getting up to 9, 10 res, and you'll maybe want to start drawing cards so you can just start playing things endlessly. Now, by the way, if you press Control, if you start playing, it actually brings up the health of everything on the field, so it's a pretty helpful thing to do. He is playing the Decay deck! Fantastic. Decay. Haven't seen it yet. Oh, this is going to be exciting. So automatically he has a 1-cost creature with 3 health, 3 attack, 2 health, and a 3-turn cooldown. So that's actually pretty nasty for me, since a 3-turn cooldown is a little bit of a disadvantage for it, but on the other side of things, it also has 3 attack for a 1 drop, which is pretty good. From what I've seen, Decay is a lot about debuffing creatures and poisoning things, so this is actually going to be fairly dangerous to me, since most of my effort comes from making sure that my creatures are staying there as long as possible, and burning whatever he puts out. So he puts out an Infected Gravelock, which I'm going to be checking cards a lot of this, since I've seen almost none of these, and I do not draw creatures again. That's kind of a hindrance. Anyway, I'm going to sack that Potion of Resistance and play a Charge Coil here. Charge Coil is a pretty nice thing. It deals 1 damage to a random opponent unit every 1 turn. But against 2 creatures with 5 combined health, it's not going to have enough time to kill them. It's going to focus as a distraction at best. So what does this Gravelock do? When it attacks a creature, that creature gets poisoned for 3 rounds. It has move 0 though, so it can't move. So whenever this creature hits something, it'll take 3 damage over the next 3 rounds, which is pretty nasty, but it also can't move to attack things, which means it's going to be focusing on this idol pretty much exclusively. And you might be thinking, well, having an idol die, that would be a really bad thing to happen, wouldn't it? And you'd be right if that were actually what happened. See, what actually is the goal of Scrolls, you want to kill 3 of your opponent's idols before the end of the game. And this means that early idol damage isn't actually as scary as you might think. Now, oh, that's actually a really good draw for me. I'm wondering, here's where things start to get a little bit weird. I'm actually going to sacrifice my Potion of Resistance. Do I want to do that? Yeah, I do. And then I'm going to Spark his Husk, I think? Yeah, I don't want it attacking my idol too early. Plus, having that creature out there is going to be a little bit dangerous for me. Now, the fact that I have structures this turn, or the fact that I have structures mostly at all, is really going to mean that this isn't going to be too much of a threat, since all my structures are stationary as well. But at the same time, I really don't want them, the big creature, moving around. And what the hell is this? Okay, what is Curse? When countdown zeros, Curse Monger may increase its cooldown by 2 to give a target unit Curse to. What the hell is that thing? I have no idea. That looks scary as shit. Oh my god. What is Curse? I've never even heard of the Curse effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sacrifice my Potion of Resistance to draw a bit. Oh, that's actually pretty good for me. Okay, so this unit has cooldown 2, so it's not going to be able to attack this turn. So what I'm going to do is, now I have to decide, do I want to focus on drawing first? Raises damage dealt to the cursed unit. That is fantastic. Good to know. Okay. Thanks. And the community for Scrolls is actually pretty friendly. Some people get pretty competitive with this thing, but oh, I'm letting time run out. What do I do? He doesn't have too many cards, so I don't think the Metal Wonder will be too helpful for me right now. If I can get both of them out, that'll be pretty helpful indeed. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the Clock Library here. Clock Library is really helpful. After 4 turns, it allows me to draw 3 scrolls for free, pretty much. But the only corollary is I have to keep it alive for those turns. And that's actually really good for me. His creature is now down to 1 health. If I get 1 more lucky Charge Coil, I'll be able to kill this thing before it can attack again. And now, this is actually fairly scary. This Curse Maul, that's an even scarier card. When it attacks and destroys a unit, it's fully healed. Oh, that's not good for me. Okay, I'm going to cast my useless contraption. I'm actually going to sacrifice one of my Metal Wonders, since it seems like his creatures are going to be focused a bit more on, wrecking my shit than they are going to be, then he is going to be on casting cards that are not. So definitely, Decay seems a lot more aggressive than I previously thought. I didn't realize they had such beefy creatures in their decks, because a 4/5 for 5 is actually really scary. I'm a bit frightened, since I'm used to dealing with a lot of small creatures, but not as much with dealing with a bunch of big ones. Okay, so that hit him, which is alright, but it isn't really what I was looking for. I will be able to kill this infected Gravelock before it attacks again, hopefully, with my Dust Runner, but this bottom row is a bit frightening right now. My useless contraption will protect me, and Lifestealer does not have Relentless, which means he won't be able to attack past useless contraption, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep Clock Library alive. Let's see, he attacks this turn. That's going to be, what is that? When it's destroyed, an undead husk is summoned in its place. What is a husk? Pestis. What is Pestis? Against +1 attack for each rat you control. When it kills another unit, summon a mangy rat on a random... Oh, God, what is that? These are terrifying. It's all about getting tons of stuff and debuffing mine, and this seems like a jack of all trades of all sort. I mean, it's definitely about keeping its creatures alive, and it just cursed this, and what does curse do? Whenever this unit takes damage or something, it takes 2 extra damage anytime it takes damage, which is pretty frightening, to be completely honest. Let's see here. Now, I can move this guy over here, but that wouldn't do too much for me. I'm going to sacrifice my Iron Ogre for now, since I don't really have too much to do with him. Let's see. Okay, so... here we go. This is where strategy starts to kick in. So he's going to be attacking with Lifestealer this turn, which will kill useless contraption. He thinks that he's going to be able to kill the Clock Library with his Cursemonger the next time it attacks. However, what I can do is I can actually... let's see here. Best case scenario, Charge Coil kills his infected Gravelock this turn. Let's see here. Because I'm thinking that... let's see, he has this creature. He's going to kill my useless contraption. Next turn, I can... Spark, Bombard, Dust Runner. I don't have enough mana for that. I'd have to play the Dust Runner this turn. Okay, I'm going to give him a choice. He can either kill my useless contraption and not be able to get to the Clock Library before it attacks. And I'm also going to spark that. Bam, done. So if he kills that, then he is automatically going to have to kill the Dust Runner anyway. Why can I not move this Dust Runner? And that unit just died. Why did it die? Oh, because my Charge Coil hit it. Okay. So now it summoned a Husk instead, which was actually the unit I saw at the beginning of the game, which is good to know. So now he's thinking, like, if he attacks the useless contraption, then this thing is going to die when that can attack. But what I'm hoping is that he'll actually kill the contraption, which will help me considerably. Well, what is this? Why is he moving the Husk in the way? Oh, because this guy's about to attack. Good, that's actually pretty smart. He casts another Husk, which is pretty frightening. The bottom rows are definitely where combat's going on right now. But let's see here. That means if I cast a Metal Wonder on the other side of the field, he'd be in a little bit more danger. And all these enchantments, he doesn't have much direct removal or any direct enemy effects. And that's exactly what I was hoping for. Oh, he got healed to full. I'm an idiot. I completely forgot about that side effect. Okay, so now this thing is going to deal 3 damage, right? Okay, and I'm thinking that I can actually have my Dust Runners take out these Husks next turn. Yeah, okay, that's going to be able to work. But I also need to be able to get past these creatures. Now, this thing, this Cursemonger, is actually thinking that it's going to be able to take out my Clock Library this next turn. However, that's not going to be the case if I can block its attack. This I'm going to do by summoning a Copper Automaton. He's going to have to attack the Copper Automaton, since, if he doesn't, this will deal 4 damage to a creature, and then I'll easily be able to kill something else. In this case, I'm probably going to focus on the Lifestealer instead. Now, if I were him, I don't know what I'd do right now. I actually have little to no idea what I would do right now if I were him. But what I am going to do is, I have my Dust Runner here, so that's going to be able to attack the next turn. I have my Charge Coil here, which is going to deal 1 damage to something. It really doesn't matter right now. But I want to save this Bombard, I think. Do I? Yeah, I want to save this Bombard. And then I can place my Ember Bonds on this creature, but he could just use it to curse instead, which really wouldn't be that good a thing. So I'm actually going to use my Ember Bonds for mana, because I have to start increasing my energy sometime. And it's really, I mean, now's good a time as any to start increasing my energy, but that Husk is going to attack next turn, this Husk right here, and so is the Lifestealer. If he doesn't use his Cursemonger to attack my Copper Automaton, then his Lifestealer's dying next turn. I'm going to guarantee that. But if he does attack the Copper Automaton, then I can actually just use the Dust Runner to attack this thing, but after doing what? Hopefully my Clock Library gets me something. But I think that the bottom line here is that he's not going to be able to stop my Clock Library from going off, which means I'm going to get cards. Additionally, if I cast Bombard next turn, Necrogeddon, what the fuck was that? Oh my god. Oh god! What is this? Destroy all creatures you control. Creatures destroyed this way are replaced by undead husks at countdown 0. Oh no. He's gonna kill everything I have on that bottom row. Clock Library doesn't go off, Charge Coil dies. He now has lots of husks, but he doesn't have all the creatures that he had before. So I need to start being careful. I'm going to sacrifice Bombard, since, I mean, what else am I going to do with it at this point? I'm going to cast Clock Library up top, since he doesn't have a lot of mobility now. I'm going to keep Dust Runner in the middle, because worst case scenario, he's going to be able to kill a Husk next turn. And then, do I want to sacrifice Copper Automaton for the ability to kill one of these things? I'm thinking, yes, there's just a bit too many creatures on the field right now for my liking, and being able to kill one of them next turn is going to be pretty helpful for me. So, now I have another Clock Library going, and that was actually a really good play from him doing that Necrogeddon, because it allowed him to kill pretty much everything I had. But he just about reset the field now. He has a lot of creatures that are going to be cooling down pretty slowly. All creatures there cool down. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? This is brutal. I don't know how to play against these decks, so now I have to keep my little bug alive for 3 turns if I want it to be able to attack, which is pretty brutal. But I'm glad they didn't save the Draining Mist for my library, because getting that to 1 cooldown and then having it just buff up again would just be absolutely devastating. I don't know if I'd be able to take that sort of a blow to my ego. Okay, so he has a lot of creatures in the bottom, and my mid has already taken 4 damage down to 6 health. So he's probably going to be focusing on getting these 2 idols down in the next couple of turns, which means I'm going to need to get some defenses up. Now would actually be a great time for some useless contraptions. Not as useless as they sound, since they will be able to block 4 damage, which will be 1 Husk attack and a second. But I'm wondering if I'm actually going to have to sacrifice my creatures. Hopefully not. I'm really hoping. Worst case scenario, Metal Wonder can function as a 4-cost useless contraption, since it will actually enable me to do a lot. And now that I'm thinking about it, okay, this is actually a really good draw for me. Burn allows me to kill something and then draw off of it. So now I get a Gun Automaton off of that, so I'm actually going to sacrifice the Charge... Oh, yeah, I'm going to sacrifice the Charge Coil, since it wouldn't really be able to kill these things, and I'm going to summon a Gun Automaton instead. Now I have a Metal Wonder here, and I do have the Clock Library up top, not really being attacked, so hopefully if that Clock Library can get to 0 cooldown, I will actually be able to do something with it. But that's going to be another 3 turns, and who knows what he's going to draw in there. And this is just the base Decay deck, I think, so this is really frightening that this deck is able to do so well. Then again, all the pre-constructeds are actually pretty good. But I'm a bit worried about the fact that he's spreading out his husks like this. It makes me think he has a Oh, are you fucking kidding me? All your undeaded units gain +2 attack until end of turn and countdown decreased by 1. Fantastic! I don't know any of these cards, so I have no idea what he's going to do. Whenever a creature adjacent to it dies, it gains 1 attack and 1 health. That's even worse! Oh, shit. I shouldn't have wasted my burn on a husk. Now, whenever I kill any one of those husks, that creature in the middle is going to get +1/+1. And that's really frightening. This entire deck is very frightening. The fact that he got so many cards up, I think that looks like... The goal of the Undead deck, from what I've seen thus far, seems to be to get a lot of little creatures up early. I'm going to actually sacrifice Metal Wonder, hopefully for some... Oh, the most beautiful card right now, but I don't know if I want to use it right away, since I need to be able to kill this Rot Eater first. Oh god. Okay, I'm going to play my Clock Library this turn. And then what I need... I might actually... Oh no, wait. If we get +1/+1 for whenever a creature adjacent to it dies. So Thunder Surge is one of my best cards. It deals 2 damage to everything that's connected to another unit. So this could actually kill all of these guys. However, that would give this guy +3/+3. Now, this would actually reduce him to a 6/2 if I attacked at the same time with my gun automaton, which means I need to get a spark or something like that next turn. Now, this doesn't sound as likely, but then you take into account the fact that I have an Iron Whip to actually reduce my clock library, but that won't really help, will it? I have to hope for a really good top deck, because I'm going to have to sacrifice this Iron Whip to try to draw a spark or a burn. But even then, that won't be able to do much. Though I could burn this first, this Rot Eater, and then Thunder Surge? I think I'm going to be taking damage from the Rot Eater regardless. I don't know that I'm going to be able to actually kill it, but I need some kind of a burn card on the Rot Eater, though I could have... I'm an idiot! Oh my god, I should have just played Iron Whip on the Rot Eater that previous turn and then Thunder Surged everything the next turn. Oh, that would have been so much of a better idea. In hindsight, as always, 20/20. Hopefully he moves the Husk out of the way of this card, but I don't really think that's going to be the case. And he does have 4 cards in his hand, so he even has card advantage right now, though not for long if these clock libraries actually get to going off. He moved it! Oh, that's not good. When a human creature is destroyed, a husk is summoned to its place. Okay, so that's fairly frightening. I'm going to draw for the ogre, and I get 2 cannon automatons. No, that's alright, that's alright. I can work with this. I think. Okay, I'm going to summon the cannon, I think. Yeah, that looks to be about the only move I have right now. Now I'll have Thunder Surge next turn to be able to kill all these husks, and the Ilmire Rot Eater will have 2 more turns until it attacks. It'll have taken 2 damage, it'll be buffed up to a 6/6. Or a 6/4 at this point, or that point, because it'll have taken 2 damage. And then I'll also have my cannon dealing, or my gun dealing 2 damage to the Witch Doctor. And then 2 turn cooldown. It'll attack before the Rot Eater does. I should be able to pull this off. Okay, so cannon deals 2 damage to this handy little Witch Doctor here. And it doesn't actually affect itself, so far as I can see. It's a human creature, but nothing else is. Undead, 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 and beast. So that's not actually that bad for me. Restless Bones. Oh, fuck me in the ass. That's a really bad move. That was really vulgar language. I'm sorry about that. But that's a really, really good play for him, because now all of his little jerks are going to be able to deal absolutely massive damage to that middle column of mine, and hopefully I'll be able to draw the cards I need off of that clock library that's about to go off. Because if I don't, my next turn is going to be my last turn, period. Hex Marks. When enchanted unit damages an idol, it deals 3 extra damage. That's even better. So this thing is about to deal 8 damage to an idol, which is going to be my main idol, because these 2 creatures are going to kill my other 2 things, which is a really smart move. So he's going to kill an idol this turn. I really should have killed those husks when I had the chance, but I didn't want that thing becoming a 6/6. But in doing so, I ended up sacrificing 2 of my idols. So that's not too good. Luckily, this clock library goes off, and now I have a lot more to work with. Okay, I'm going to burn this thing this turn. Hopefully he doesn't have another one of those restless whatever the hells. But this thing is now a 4/4, so I'm actually going to spark this thing. And you may notice, hey PA, you don't have any cards left. That's true, but I'm going to Thunder Surge next turn if he doesn't move all of his creatures away from each other. That said, he probably doesn't want to move his husks away from the Rot Eater unless he sees this coming. In which case, I'm going to just play Gun Automaton, Cannon Automaton, Copper Automaton, whatever I can to make sure that his creatures do not move anymore. If he moves all these husks away from the Ilmire Rot Eater, I'm just going to Copper, Iron Whip, done, and then I'm going to kill the husks as quickly as I can. But at this point, I need to see where he moves, because he's going to be moving towards my last idol. He only needs to deal damage to 1 more idol for it to be able to die, and that's really dangerous for me. I'm trying to figure out what undead plays, though, and I can't figure it out. Oh, are they still connected? They're still connected. Okay, that's fantastic. Unless he has another one of the restless things, in which case I lose. I don't think I lose. Hopefully not. Oblivion Seeker, what is that? When it's destroyed, draw 2 scrolls, cost 5. That's pretty good. All these cards are really good. I can't deal. I cannot deal with all this. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and Thunder Surge, which will kill 4 of his creatures. And then, of course, a Husk is summoned in the place of the other one, because that was what the effect was, and I have nothing else to cast with this turn, so I might as well I don't want to sacrifice Bombard. I don't want to sacrifice any of these. I think I'm going to need some big creatures, though. I'm going to sacrifice the Gun Automaton, because I don't think that's going to be as much use to me. And I don't think he can kill this Clock Library this turn, so I'm about to get 3 more turns, so I don't really have to sacrifice as much for draw anymore. I can focus a lot more on sacrificing for energy. So now he's going to get another Husk, and he's going to get 2 cards when that creature is destroyed. So I think my best move at this point would just be to block that creature from doing anything. Not to kill it immediately, but to just do as much as I could. What the hell is that? Before attacking, it moves to a random adjacent tile. That's really weird. All these cards are really weird. I don't know how to deal. I can't deal with all this. Oh god. So, when enchanted creature is destroyed, an undead husk is summoned to its place, and when it's destroyed, draw 2 scrolls. So I don't really want to kill that. A lot of his... Oh, and a pillar that reduces attack of all my units on that by 1. I remember seeing that before. So now, what do I have? I have a charge coil, I have a scattergunner, I have a burn. I have lots of stuff I can use. Let's see here. Let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sacrifice... Not the copper, because the copper can just about take out the Pillar of Disease. I'm going to sacrifice the gun to play a cannon and a copper. Now, this cannon can actually block 1 damage from the Oblivion Seeker, since it does have armor 1, so it's only going to take 1 damage, or he's going to have the Oblivion Seeker attack my idol directly. Either way, it's not doing as much this turn. Then, next turn, if I play Charge Coil and Scattergunner and Bombard, I'll actually have a really good turn on my hands, since I will be able to attack with the Scattergunner and the... Oh, that's a rat. What does that rat do? When it attacks a creature, that creature gets poisoned. That's terrible for me. I could really use another Chain Lightning at this point. That'd be great. I could use a Chain Lightning. Or a Thunder Surge, whatever it's called. You know what I mean. Hopefully he tries to kill my cannon, though. That's what I'm really fingers crossed for. But all of his creatures have very low health. They just keep coming is the problem. Atrophy. Target unit's attack is decreased by 5 until the end of my next turn. It's not going to attack next turn anyway. Or unless he predicted the Bombard, which is kind of the issue. But, I mean, it's reduced to 0, but that's fine. I can deal with that being reduced to 0 for 1 turn. He's going to attack that idol. He's going to try to take it out. And then he's going to try to, when it attacks, that creature gets poisoned. So it doesn't have to deal damage, it just has to attack. How in the hell you poison the cannon? I have no idea. But sure, we'll roll with it. So, 2 damage to my idol off of that creature there, and then he's going to have a lot of things here, and that's not what I was looking for. Come on! That's not what I was looking for at all, but I have a useless contraption, and that is more like it. So, let's see here. I can burn something. Because my strategy was really going to be that Scattergunner Bombard combination, but that doesn't really work for me. So let's see here. I can move this in front of here to block attacks. It would actually take more damage than I can handle. So I'm going to go ahead and burn this husk, which lets me draw a Thunder Surge, naturally. Okay, so now for next turn I have that at the ready. And then I'll actually use my Copper Automaton. It'll reduce the attack of my Copper by 1, because that's Pillar of Disease, but Pillar of Disease will only have 1 health left then. I'm also going to play Charge Coil, because now 1 creature will die. I'm really hoping it's not the Oblivion Seeker, but 1 creature will die this turn thanks to the next turn thanks to the Charge Coil. I'm also going to cast a useless contraption here, because now he cannot get past me this turn, which is good for me. Well, actually, his rat could attack the middle column, but nothing's there, so why would he do that? Also, he seems to be actually cornering in this Mire Shambler, which is a good strategy by him. It's a 3-cost creature with only 1 health for 1 cost, but the random movement does limit its possibilities a bit. If you box it in, though, like this, it can't move, which would allow it to do a lot more. Still, Iron Whip sounds like it's going to be a great card against the Mire Shambler and against the rats, so it'll be a good thing to keep around. Though Oblivion Seeker really... that's a bit irritating. Still, next turn I should be able to kill just about everything on his side of the field, period. Mire Shambly is going to be moving back one space right before it attacks, unless he moves something else there, in which case it's going to move sideways if he moves the rat up here. That's actually really weird, the attack thing, because you could have it technically move 2 spaces so long as you controlled and Slayer. What the hell is Slayer? When it deals damage to a creature, that creature is destroyed. So it's like a better version of my Dust Runner. That's just great to hear. Chance to attack is decreased by 2 when it comes into play, draw 1 scroll. So this is now permanently a 3 attack. I can deal with the 3 attack. Because 3 attack will still be enough, and I still have my Scattergunner, which I'm going to be able to play. I'll be able to Thunder Surge and play Scattergunner. And then... okay, there he goes. So he just dealt 2 damage to that. Armor 1 does help out there. I've got Ember Bonds, which is great. Thunder Surge, Iron Whip, Scattergunner, Bombard, Cannon, Automaton, Iron Whip. Okay, I'm going to Thunder Surge, which will kill everything but the Ilmire Hunter. He will draw 2 cards off of that, but I have a little bit of card advantage at this point, so I think I can manage that. So there's that. Then the Husk is summoned to its place, but my cannon is going to attack this turn, so it'll take out the Husk anyway. And then, can I still sacrifice for... oh, I can. I think I know what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to sacrifice Ember Bonds. I know this seems weird, but just bear with me. Then I'm going to play my Scattergunner right here. This means that no matter where he moves the Ilmire Hunter, I'll be able to kill that next turn regardless. Also, the Charge Coil doing its thing, but... so this attacks, and then Charge Coil is going to deal 1 damage to the Ilmire Hunter, which means if I draw a Spark, I'll be able to kill that next turn without. But worst case scenario, if I really wanted to kill it, I could sacrifice 2 Iron Whips. But I don't think I want to kill it, so... I now have... he has 6 cards, I have 4, I have 9 energy, he only has 6, so that'll actually allow me to play a lot more per turn than he does. I actually think I'm going to start drawing with these Iron Whips, sacrificing them for more cards. He gets another Oblivion Seeker, which kinda blows, but I can deal with that when I encounter it. I need to get this creature back 1 square, since it will allow it more mobility in that regard. And then, what do I want to do? I'm going to sacrifice Iron Whip. I knew that from the beginning. There we go, perfect. I'm going to cast Ember Bonds on that, so before it attacks, it's going to die. Because Ember Bonds deals 2 damage before the unit attacks, which means that it deals the damage prior to the unit actually getting its handy-dandy little buff. And then, what do I want to do? I want to play Metal Wonder, I think. I'm going to play Metal Wonder over here, because it'll help guard my Charge Coil, and it'll help create a little bit of a buffer around this idol here. Also, whenever he tries to play anything that isn't a creature, which seems to actually be a couple of things in this deck, it's going to reduce his attack significantly. Now, I could Iron Whip something, but I'm not going to bother with that. Best case scenario, I won't actually have to use Iron Whip very much at all. Okay, so 1 damage to the Oblivion Seeker. He's going to get some extra scrolls here as soon as that thing dies. Ilmire Hunter is going to die anyway, so if he has something to cast on it that'll do something when it dies, this would be a great time to do so. This is actually a pretty long game, truth be told. 18 rounds. I'm used to playing games where the opponent tries to end as quickly as possible, which is good for them, bad for me, but a long, drawn-out game is really a lot more fun in my opinion. Okay, and now a lot of my creatures are now at 3 cooldown instead of 1, which is bad for me, except for the fact that I still have Bombard, which will allow me to turn all my creatures back to 0 turn cooldown, which is great. He's moving this up, and he's going to cast the Rot Eater, which is going to get extra damage when that dies, which is pretty smart. There you go. Okay, so now he has a 4/4, and if something else dies in... oh, fucking hell. That's a lot of Scattergunners. I shouldn't have done that. I should have done something else entirely. Still, this does give me an opportunity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this guy over here, and I'm going to cast Scattergunner, Scattergunner, I'm going to draw with the Iron Whip, and I'm going to cast Bombard. And boom, just like that, massive amount of damage about to come out. That's going to die, that's going to die, that will be buffed to a 5/5 just before I kill it, but that's fine. But he is going to lose an idol off of this attack, even if he does draw 2 cards off of it. So now he has an... what was it called? An Odor Eater? Rot Eater, whatever. Oh god, you would not want that at the bottom of your shoe. Ugh, that's a terrible image. I don't know why I just brought that up. Anyway, So now he has a Rot Eater at 1 health, which is pretty bad for him, and I have all 3 of my Scattergunners out, and that's a pretty powerful offensive force, as well as a defensive force, considering the fact that he really doesn't have too much to do with that at the moment. My Charge Coil is going to take 2 turns to cool down now, but that's a really... I actually like that 1 turn cooldown to 3 turn cooldown thing that he has. Since that, one of the really nasty things about recent decks is that there are several growth-based 1 cooldown creatures that are really hard to deal with. And the fact that there's a Decay card to counter that, as well as a Decay strategy to counter just creature destruction, is pretty cool. I'm trying to figure out what counters this deck, though. It's like creature destruction doesn't do it. Counter creature doesn't do it. And trying to get things out quickly doesn't do it. So what is it? I'm thinking it's really big creatures, actually. As weird as that sounds. But then again, really big creatures have the issue of Mire Curse. What in the world is that? At the beginning of each of its turns, 1 poison damage to all adjacent creatures. That's really terrible. If an enchanted unit is killed by poison damage, a random creature on the same side gets Infectious Blight. You're fucking kidding me. This is absolutely brutal. What just got Infectious Blight? Nothing did? Oh, there it is. Oh my god, that's ridiculous. It's a poison that keeps going. The most I can hope for is that it gets spread to a contraption or something like that. Oh my god. I can't let it die to poison damage. I have to kill it with an Iron Whip this turn. Oh my god. Okay, so what do I want to do? I want to draw using useless contraption. I have a spark now. Brilliant. That's exactly what I need. Let's see. So, Iron Whip this. I can't let the infection spread. Then, I have another Metal Wonder that I can play, actually. Which I'm going to do. Yeah. Because now, whenever he plays anything that isn't a creature, it's going to be dealing... That is, it being, the Metal Wonder is going to deal significant damage to him, and then I'm going to move this Scattergunner back, because he has more attack than my Dust Runner. And while Dust Runner is helpful for this sort of thing, it's actually not that good right now, I think. Just because it can kill things, but so can the Scattergunner, so I'm going to go ahead and end, because the Dust Runner says whenever it deals damage to a creature with 3 or less health, that creature is destroyed. Well, whenever Scattergunner does damage to a creature with 4 or less health, that creature is destroyed, so... what the fuck, right? Anyway, I'm glad I managed to stop that Blight, but I didn't move my creature! Now everything's going to take damage from Mire Curse. So Scattergunner is going to be left at 1 life, which was bad. And he's got another Rot Eater, which is not good for me. And he's got a Pillar of Disease to reduce attack on the same row. So now this thing is down to 2 attack, which is... that's that whole debuff thing I thought might be happening with this deck, but... definitely happening with this deck. So that row is almost going to have to atrophy. Ha! There we go. Metal Wonder's starting to do their work. Whenever he casts something that isn't a creature, he's going to be taking 4 idle damage, and now he's got a 5 health idle right here, and a 6 health idle right here. Which means if I can get something beefy out right here, and something beefy out right here, I'll actually be able to kill these things pretty easily. Oh my god, my 3rd Metal Wonder. I'm wondering if I shouldn't just sacrifice my cannon. I think I am. Okay, now I've got a Dust Runner, a Metal Wonder, a Potion of Resistance. I'm going to keep the Potion of Resistance. I'm going to play the Metal Wonder because fuck everything but creatures right now. And then... oh, that's not good. He's smiling. I don't like smiling. And Dust Runner is whenever it deals damage, which is kind of a problem, but it can still serve as a soak for Potion of Resistance, which is pretty nice. And then 1 damage to a random creature, it gets the Husk, which is nice. But at the same time, it's really going to be a bit of a problem. He only has 2 health left on this idol and 6 health left on this idol, which means if I can draw something big and attack, that'll be pretty nice. And now, if he casts anything, he's got to take 6 idol damage immediately. And that's a big problem for him. It means he can only play creatures right now. And if he only plays creatures, then he's going to be at risk of his creatures getting destroyed. At the same time, though, the fact that I can't put my Cannon Automaton next to anything is really kind of a problem. I could put it next to structures, so I could put it right here and it wouldn't actually... oh, Cursemonger. That thing from the beginning of the game again shows up to make my life a living hell. And then Pillar of Fatigue. Whenever a creature... fucking seriously? Okay. Oh, I got Bombard. Okay, let's draw with this. Thunder Surge. Oh, dear sweet Jesus. Okay, what can I do with this? Gun automaton. Bombard. Okay. This is dangerous as hell. I don't want a Thunder Surge this turn. I want to bombard next turn, but at the same time I don't think that's going to be possible. I'm going to have to bombard this turn. And I'll Thunder Surge next turn. Okay, I think this should work. That should kill the thing that increases cooldown. That doesn't do anything because the cooldown's increased and it buffed it to a 4/4. I did not want that to happen, but okay, we can deal. Now, I still have 3 Metal Wonders on the field, which is really good for me because he can't cast anything but creatures, and right now, creature removal is going to be my main goal. He has a 4/4 and a 3/4, and I have the creatures that might sorta kinda be able to remove it, but I really need to draw some burn cards and fast, or a clock library, something, to allow me to get more in here. An affected Gravelock, whenever it deals damage, poison, it can't move. It's actually a pretty bad move, I think, simply because it can't move, but it's on the same row as a destroyed totem, so I just have to stop it. But at the same time, he has to stop me from getting in here, and he has 5 cards that he can't play because of all the Metal Wonders. So, Cursemonger could give something Curse, which would be bad for me. But at the same time, I still have a useless contraption blocking 1 hit here. He doesn't seem to have anything with Relentless, which is good, because it means that he can't actually move past any of my creatures to attack. But I'm also starting to get a bit of a crowded board, so maybe having something die wouldn't be too bad an idea for me. Oh, and he got the card with Slayer, which is a bit of a problem, because, as always, you know, if it kills anything, taking damage. Okay, now, Ember Bonds, that's good, but I'm going to sacrifice it for more cards. Useless Contraption, that's great. Clock Library, that's great. Just, not at the same time. Okay, so... Oh! Can I kill it this turn? Is it if a unit? No, whenever a creature adjacent to it dies. Okay, so I can put this here. And then I can cast Thunder Surge, which will kill that. That'll be left at 2 health, and I can put a useless contraption where? I think I want to put it in front of the clock library, but I don't really have anywhere to put the clock library right now, so, what do? I think I'm going to have to... I'm going to wait to see where he's moving the Ilmire Hunter. If he moves it somewhere dangerous, I'm going to go ahead and cast my useless contraption. But otherwise, I'm just going to actually probably sacrifice clock library for 2 cards immediately, rather than 3 cards in, 4 turns. Oh, and he got the 2 damage to Ilmire Hunter. That's fantastic for me. Now, if he casts the card that reduces or increases cooldown for all mine, he'll take 6 damage, but at the same time it's going to be fairly dangerous. Decrease the attack. If I draw another Thunder Surge, that would be fantastic right now. It would allow me to get past a lot here. Otherwise, I could still kill this Pillar of Disease with a Bombard, but I wouldn't really be able to kill anything else but the Cursemonger. Atrophy, reduced by 5 until next turn. Oh! Yes! He cast something. He forgot about it. Okay, so now I've only got 2 idols alive, 6 health apiece, and if I manage to get something down there with decent attack, it should actually be able to deal a lot of damage. Oh, this is getting really tense. Shit. All these pro strats. Atrophy is just decreased by 5 until the end of the next turn, so it's a 1-turn enchant. But he thinks that he had to do it. When it's attacked in melee, that doesn't really matter. I don't have any melee attacking units. I have an Iron Whip, which is good. I have a Clock Library. I'm going to sacrifice the Clock Library because I can kill something with Iron Whip. I have Bombard, I have Ember Bonds, I have Iron Whip, I have Useless Contraption. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this down here, right? I can move this down here? No. The fact that he just reduced my Scattergunner to main attack is kind of a problem, but I'm going to go ahead and cast Ember Bonds on this, so it's going to die regardless. Then I have the Cursemonger that I have to take care of, and that's a bit of a problem. I'm going to save my Bombard for after the Scattergunner is returned to full. I'm also going to move the Dust Runner, move the Scattergunner back, move the Gun Automaton back, summon a Useless Contraption there. Bit of a wall for me, not really too much I have to deal with, and then I'm just going to Iron Whip that to kill it. Why not? So now I have Bombard and only Bombard, but it's really getting pretty dangerous for my opponent. Okay, and it just took 1 damage. It doesn't matter, it's going to die this turn anyway, thanks to Ember Bonds, and then I'm going to be able to Bombard for what this turn? I'm going to be able to kill things next turn with Bombard, but I don't know if I really want to. I mean, I'll be able to kill this row, but I really need to get to these 2 bottom rows, I think, unless he casts something more, and this takes a lot of damage. Best case scenario, he casts a card, gets insanely unlucky, and one of these dies immediately. And he can't take that chance. That's what he knows. He knows he can't play anything but creatures right now. That's what I love about Metal Wonders in the current draw-focused meta. He gets a Mire Shambler and an Oblivion Seeker out because he just has to cast only creatures. He still has 3 cards in his hand that he's just wanting to cast desperately, but he can't do it. Oh god, poor guy. Now I also have my Dust Runner. Dust Runner's going to be able to kill the Oblivion Seeker in 1 turn if he hits it, thanks to the fact that he deals damage, and there's the Ember Bonds going off. Okay, good. I have a burn. Oh, that's fantastic. Now what do I want to burn? 2 cooldown on everything on his side of the field. Right? And nothing of mine is in danger. So if I let this Gun Automaton attack this turn, that Pillar of Disease will take 1 damage. Then, next turn, Dust Runner can actually attack. I'm wondering if I should draw off Bombard. I'm thinking I should. Okay, a Cannon Automaton, that's great, and a Copper. So now I can cast the Cannon right here, and the Copper right here. The Copper is going to deal 4 damage to that next turn, unless he summons something in front of it, which is going to mean that he can't cast anything without the extreme risk of this being the random one targeted and taking 2 damage, unless he stops it somehow. But at the same time, if I get this Cannon Automaton, if I can get something to get the Bitterroot out of the way, and on that note, I'm actually going to move that forward and that back and that forward, so best case scenario, Dust Runner, oh, he has to attack a creature, this is a wall. Yeah, that doesn't really work. But best case scenario, okay, this is going to take 1 damage this turn. But there are a couple of things that could happen that would ensure my victory here, right? If... Okay, so that took 1 damage, that's fine. It doesn't really matter for me. But if... Let's say, okay. Let's say he moves to take care of this turn. This can still take care of just about anything in the row. The Cannon Automaton can take care of this. If I get an Iron Whip, that's really the big thing. If he doesn't move anything here, and oh, he got a Life Stealer. Okay, so Life Stealer is going to take a lot of the damage here. If I got a Thunder Surge, that would actually take out just about everything on his side of the field. That would be devastating. Shroud of Unlife, when it's destroyed, summon a new thing. Oh, so close. Holy shit. That was close. Oh god. I could really use a Thunder Surge right now. Oh, the top decks! The top decks! Holy shit. Perfect. Yeah, that's pretty much GG. There really isn't much he can do here, especially because I can just move the Automaton up and attack. Okay, but the 3 Metal Wonders just absolutely ruined his game. You really can't let multiple Wonders get out, or else you're just going to be stuck casting creatures. If that's your goal, then that's fine. If you're like a growth deck that focuses on that, that can be okay. But even growth decks have to draw sometime. So it's really just a matter of, can you stop the deck before it starts? And then 1 damage. And we managed to win the game after being pretty hard fought there. So we get 356 gold. You get 20 gold per idle kill. You get 20 gold for completing the game. And then you get I think it's the sum total of these times 2 or something. I still haven't figured out how much victory is. But we get 356 gold. So right as we finish up, we're short by about 12 gold of buying another... let's see here. What was the... Oh, we're still in the trading chat. Let's, you know what, let's just do a quick trial to kind of show those off as well. This is an intro video, we might as well get a lot out of it. So, let's see. Do we want his creatures to enter battle with 2 health, and we have to destroy 3 idols to win? Or do we want the battle with 5 resources apiece? I'm thinking 5 resources. That's pretty cool. Right? So we're going to go ahead and choose our tutorials or helpful deck, and both of us start with 5 resources. He gets Decay, I get Order. It's great. I love it. And I get 2 Sparks right off the bat and a Metal Wonder. Sure. I'll draw off the Iron Ogre too, and I get a second Metal Wonder. So this is a really weird starting hand. Oh, but this is a computer opponent. This isn't a human. This is just going to be me trying to best a computer. And he gets a Rod Eater turn 1. Okay. I can deal with a Rod Eater turn 1. Let's turn on the health bars here. There we go. Let's cast a second Metal Wonder, because why not? And then, let's see, I think I want to draw off of one of my sparks. And 2 clock libraries. Okay, so I'm getting all the things I really don't need right now. That's great. I can sort of deal with that. But he can't cast anything that would deal damage to me right now, because that'd just be a terrible move for him. Now let's see, I could just spark this twice and kill it. Or I could hope for a burn on whatever I draw. I'm going to sack Potion Resistance to draw Ember Bond's Dust Runner, not what I needed. Okay, so I'm actually going to save one of my sparks. I'm going to Ember Bonds and I'm going to spark. There we go. So that now when he attacks with the thing, when the thing inevitably attacks that is, it's just going to blow itself up. Good times. And then we have another Potion of Resistance and still nearly no creatures. I'm going to sacrifice my Clock Library. Still absolutely nothing. This is one that I can control a lot with this hand, but I can't really play anything. Which is a little bit of a problem, just a little bit. Not a massive problem, just it's one of those problems you can't really deal with too well. So, he has a Mire Shambler. Hopefully my Charge Coil is going to take care of that next turn. He casts a spell. What the fuck was that? Summon a Mire Shambler on a random tile, destroy a target creature with 2 health or less. Okay, that's a problem. Now, I think I need to kill this thing this turn, but how? I couldn't kill it, but I could cast Ember Bonds on it, 2 Ember Bonds actually, if I sacrificed something for mana. I think I'm gonna do that, as stupid as it sounds, because that means that something on his field, unless my Charge Coil focuses on the Bitterroot, something on his field is going to die this turn. Or next turn, rather. So I'm going to do that. Charge Coil attacks, and boom, Mire Shambler dies. Okay. Next turn I'm going to be able to kill the Witch Doctor, and then he's got another Mire Shambler, which is a bit of a problem, and an Infected Grayblock. So he has a lot of stuff, he has a lot of res, but so do we. 1 damage before attacking. Let's destroy all creatures on the same row get poisoned for 3 rounds. And it took 4 damage just from attacking, so that's great for us. Unfortunately, he also killed one of my Metal Wonders, so I could really use a Thunder Surge right now, but of course I'm not going to get it. So, that's life. We're going to go ahead and burn that, then we're going to cast a Gun Automaton right here. And what else can we do? Not much this turn? Not much this turn. Alright. We're just going to keep what we have. I could try to hurt the Blightbearer. Wait, all creatures in the same row get poisoned for 3 rounds? That would include his own. And it's when it's destroyed, so that's actually pretty useful. If I can kill that thing on my terms, it'll deal damage to his own creatures with poison damage. Interesting. Ilmire Hunter, we already know that card, know and love it. Thunder Surge? Thunder Surge, fantastic, just what I was looking for. Good, now we could cast for 1, but instead I think I'm just going to try to keep my creatures alive for the time being, sorta, kinda. Yeah, that should work. Worst case scenario, Charge Coil deals damage to something, and then something dies next turn. Gun Automaton I'll keep where it is. If he wants to attack it, fine by me. Charge Coil almost manages to kill the Blightbearer. So, he also gets a Shroud of Unlife, which he casts there, takes 2 damage to a tile. It takes 1 damage when it attacks, dealing poison damage to everything on its row. It's before it attacks. Oh, that's important. Okay, so now what I can do, because this is pretty easy, I can spark this, so it'll die next turn. The other thing will die next turn. I can cast a Scattergunner right here. And then, do I want to draw off Bombard? I think I do. No, I want to draw off Resistance. There we go. 2 more Thunder Surges. Okay. Just in case I was not killing enough things anyway. I could have killed his Husk this turn as well. Oh well. That's fine. I can deal with not killing the Husk this turn. He has a Witch Doctor. Okay. Sounds fine. Witch Doctor's not going to be able to attack in time to not die, but that's fine by me. And I could Bombard this turn, but I don't think I'm going to. Instead, I'm going to draw off Thunder Surge. One of them, mind. Not both of them. Now let's see, if I Iron Whip him next turn... No, who do I want to Iron Whip? I could have him kill, then he'd deal damage to the... Okay, that would work, or I could Thunder Surge, or I have a lot of options right now, actually, truth be told. My little guy is going to deal 1 damage to the husk. That's not too useful for me, but sure, go wild, little guy. That charge coil being helpful. Atrophy reduces his attack, which is a bit of a problem. Atrophy reduces another unit's attack and another 2 damage to an idol of his. That Metal Wonder doing wonders for us. And we can... what can we do? Let's see, we can... Count Automaton, we can... Surge... I could let him attack, but I don't really want to. So what do I have that could stop it? Do I have anything? I could bombard an Iron Whip. And as much as I don't want to waste bombard, I think that's just about my best option right now. But at the same time, a bunch of my creatures are pretty squishy right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna burn this guy. No, this guy. That way I have a 50% chance. Ah, what the heck, I'll Iron Whip him too. So he only has 1 creature. And now he can either kill my Scattergunner, or he can kill my little cannon dude. But he's not gonna be able to do both. Or he can attack the idol up there. And the computers in this game are actually pretty good at their job, so... it's a little bit scary, the fact that he is actually able to handle this as well as he is. He's going to be attacking my cannon perfectly fine. Atrophy on the unit that's going to attack next turn, that's smart. And a creature that I don't recognize. Which... okay, there is a creature like this that can deal 2 damage to target, what am I trying to say? Let's see, okay, let's summon my cannon this turn. We have 2 bombards now, and we have an Iron Whip. Iron Whip, actually pretty helpful. For next turn. Then I'll be able to deal 1 damage, and I think I can't do anything else this turn, that goes without saying. 1 damage to his Loyal Retainer, whatever the heck. Thunder Surge is going to be the... yeah, I'm definitely using Thunder Surge next turn. He's out of cards, though, so that actually puts the advantage squarely in my court. There we go, as you can see, he did just summon a husk, and... what the hell just happened there? Why did I take 2 damage? When it's destroyed, it deals 2 damage to the... okay, so whenever it's destroyed, it doesn't have to be destroyed by its effect. That's important. Okay. And then... I think that works. Now I have 3 bombards, which is fairly nice. But he does now have a 6 attack creature, just sitting in front. Luckily, it does not have, what's it called? Relentless, so that would be really frightening. So, thank goodness on that note. But I can go ahead and cast this little guy here. And do I want to use my one of my bombards this turn? I think I do. And I'll just draw off of my Iron Whip. And hey, Copper Automatons, just what I was looking for. 1 Copper Automaton to the rescue. So, my little gun will attack, my cannon will attack, kill that, and then this will attack, and now it's a 9/7, so that's a bit of a problem. Luckily, I have a Copper Automaton to help out, and I have a Bombard to help out. And, of course, he has a 2nd Rot Eater and a Husk. So that Rot Eater's getting pretty big. Bit of a problem. I think I need to kill it. Draw off Useless Automaton. Or, Useless Contraption, I'm too used to calling things automatons here. This is actually pretty smart of him. That Rod Eater getting pretty beefy. The only thing that's going to be able to attack next turn is going to be the Rod Eater, which means it's not going to be able to kill anything. I can cast Bombard, allow all my units to attack this turn. Can move this guy back, can summon a Useless Contraption here, and a Copper Automaton here. Now he has to move up to protect this, or else things are going to go poorly for him, because he's about to lose an idol and a half. Boom, boom. Alright, and now he's sitting at 10-4-2-8, and he has 1 attack, 1 more damage on that one. Oh, that's a problem. I've never seen that before. Okay. That's big. I don't know how okay I am with that. This will count my little dude as a sacrifice too. Okay. This is frightening. I think I know exactly how I can stop it, though. Right, so I summon a cannon here. I summon a Dust Runner here. And then next turn, if he doesn't stop me, I can bombard and kill the top row. If he does move up to stop me, then I'm going to be able to kill the middle row. Infected Gravelock is summoned down there, good for me. He has one more card, and that's all. And this thing is down to 3, which is kind of scary, but I think this is officially my game. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so move up, bombard, and 4, 5, 1, that's 10 damage. Might as well draw off the burn. 2 Iron Ogres, don't need that now. 10, or 6 damage, and then 10. And then of course my little spark totem goes off, because why not? And I win! Because it's a trial, I get an extra 250 gold, but I get almost nothing because it was an easy trial, so 341. So we now have enough for 3 packs, so let's go ahead and open some. I love opening energy scrolls since one of the most valuable cards in the game is energy right now. Actually, 2 of them. Plus, my energy deck means that it's never really a bad move. Law Memorial, not too great. Desperation, not too great. And Law Memorial. Okay, so pretty trash draws, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It gives you a little bit of an opening to scrolls, hopefully teaches you a little bit more about the game, gives you a general idea of how it goes, and I'm definitely going to be releasing more gameplay of scrolls in the near future. But sadly, this video does come with a little bit of an announcement, a little bit of a sad one. PA's Perpetual Testing is going on a little bit of a hiatus, probably about a week, maybe a week and a half, because as of Thursday, I'm leaving to go to PAX. And then after I get back from PAX, I have school and all sorts of other stuff to take care of, and then I'm leaving the subsequent weekend to go to a LAN party. So, not much time for recording in the near future. But no worries, the moment I can get the episodes back up and running, you bet I'll do so, but it's going to be a little while until that is the case. So, sad times, but no worries folks, I will definitely see you as soon as I can, and I'll bring lots of news from PAX with me, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time on the Fields of the Scrolls. Fields of Battle? I have no idea what these are called.